to Cooking in College, the show that teaches you how to make delicious, easy, and affordable meals. I'm your host, Paige, and today we're making a bunch of different party starter dishes. First, I'm going to start by washing my hands. Now, whenever I'm cooking, I like to keep a plastic bag close by so I can just put all of my trash in there. Our first party starter is goat cheese balls. We're going to be using 1 tablespoon of chopped rosemary, 1 tablespoon of thyme, the zest of 1 lemon, 12 ounces of fresh goat cheese. We're going to finely chop our thyme, rosemary, and lemon zest and put 2 tablespoons into the goat cheese. Okay. It smells really, really good. My mom makes these for all of her parties. So we're using 12 ounces of goat cheese. Now we're going to be using our hands to mix all of this, so don't be afraid. The cheese is kind of watery, but it's okay. It tastes super good. So just mix it all, or just put it all in there. You're going to get your scissors dirty, but it's okay. Get it. Okay, now I'm going to rinse my hands before I use the lemon. We're going to take our lemon, and if you don't have a zester, like a specific zester, you can use just a cheese grater that has the zesting side. Now we're just going to go ahead and zest the lemon. Get it all in there. It smells super good. You can use more or less of the lemon. We're going to try to use about the whole thing, but you never know. And these are served with baguettes. You can buy previously toasted baguettes, or you can buy your own and toast those. Then we can just reach in there and don't cut your fingers, but get all of the zest out. Now we're going to add our thyme and our rosemary. Before we mix it all together, we're going to grab a plate so that we don't get it all dirty, to put our little goat cheese balls in. And now we're just going to mix all the ingredients together, like so. And just make sure you get it all spread out so that one isn't full of lemon zest and so on. And now, as I'm flinging it everywhere, we're going to make our balls. So we're just going to take them and roll. That's actually pretty too big. So you want them to be bite-sized to go on the little baguette pieces. And we're just going to go ahead and place them in the center of the bowl. Plate. Just kidding. So now we've finished plating our goat cheese balls, and we're going to go ahead and just wash our hands before we plate the bread on there with it. And you can have fun with these dishes. You can make them look really pretty and, you know, make people ooh and ah at your presentation and also the taste. Okay. And once again, we're using toasted baguettes. You can buy a full baguette, chop it into pieces, and toast it on 400 degrees till they turn brown. Or you can buy them already toasted. We like them nice and crunchy. So we're just going to plate them any which way around the goat cheese to make like a tower. So you're just going to cover the bowl with the little toasted baguettes. Make sort of like a outer rim. We finished our goat cheese balls. If you want, you can drizzle some olive oil over them to add an extra little flavor, but I'm not going to. So I'm just gonna take one. Oop, I got some on me. And you can either eat it like this, or what I do is I mash it on there, and then I just It's really good. And there you have it. Goat cheese balls. Now that we've finished with our goat cheese balls, we're going to move on to our next party starter, which is Momma's spinach dip. Okay, so this spinach dip we're going to be putting into, usually we use a round pumpernickel loaf, but this time they didn't have any because apparently you have to special order those, so we have a long one. But we're going to start by chopping up our ingredients, and we're using half of a small onion, 1 can or 8 ounces of water chestnuts chopped, 1 box of frozen chopped spinach, thawed and drained, 1 cup of sour cream, 1 cup of Miracle Whip, 1 package of vegetable soup mix, 1 loaf of pumpernickel bread. Okay, so we're just gonna chop up our water chestnuts. And this recipe actually is Lindsay's mom's recipe, Robin. Woo! And she would make it and bring it to all of her, parties. People would request for her to make it, and so it's really good, and we decided it'd be the perfect dish to use for this episode. So we're going to be using a about medium or large bowl and just put in the water chestnuts. And then we're going to take our small onion and we're just going to cut it in half. And yeah, once you cut it in half, it basically comes apart so that you can get the outer pieces off. And we're going to finely chop this. So we're just going to take the onion and chop it into pieces. And like with the goat cheese balls, this dish is really nice to look at and unique, so people are going to be like, wow, where'd you get that idea? So just go ahead and run the knife through them. And you can use whatever onion you like, red onion, Vidalia onion, sweet onion. It doesn't really matter. Try not to cry, like me. So now that we have chopped our onions, we're going to go ahead and put them in the bowl with our water chestnuts. And again, we're only using half of an onion. Okay, and now we're just going to clear off our pieces. And I like to keep a garbage bag or just a plastic bag to put the trash in. That way it's easier. You don't have to keep running to the trash can. And now we're going to start adding all of our other ingredients. We're going to take our spinach and just pour it in there. Our sour cream. I'm going to use, take our cup of sour cream. Just plop that in there. And then our Miracle Whip. Now, if you don't have Miracle Whip, you can use mayonnaise, but it does taste better with the Miracle Whip. But you can always make adjustments. So we're going to mix this together. All nice and mixed before we add our vegetable soup mix. Okay, and now we're going to go ahead and add our vegetable soup mix. So we're just going to mix it all together with the vegetable soup mix. And there we have our dip. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and take our loaf of bread. And we're going to take a bread knife. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to dig the knife in there to make an open area. So just go ahead and get in there. Careful not to cut your fingers, so you can rotate that. And then we're just going to pull it off. And we're going to dig in there and we're going to pull some of the bread out. You don't want to pull all the bread out. You want to leave about an inch and a half depth in there so that the dip has, a bowl and it doesn't seep through. You don't want to get any holes either. Whoops, drop a piece. Okay, so we're going to just move these to the side. And we're going to go ahead and fill our loaf with the dip. People are going to be really impressed if you do this. The presentation and the taste is going to be phenomenal. Go ahead, put your dip in there. And you can toast the other bread pieces if you'd like. Or you can just use them how they are. And then you're just going to take these pieces and just leave them in pretty, you know, like pretty good, maybe about 2-inch size pieces around the edges so that people can, that's what they'll eat the dip with. They'll be able to dip it in there. And give it some nice, and we're using, you know, a nice little plate. We can coat it with that. I like the crust pieces, so that's what I'll be eating. Okay, so just finish off ripping the pieces. And there we go. And there's our Mama's spinach bread bowl dip. Yeah. And now I'm gonna try some. Make sure we made her proud. I think she'd be proud. And that's our spinach dip. Now that we've finished 2 of our party starters, we're going to go ahead and move on to our last party starter, which is fried shrimp and cocktail sauce. Okay, so we're going to be using 1 egg, 1½ cups of Italian breadcrumbs, 15 to 20 deveined and peeled shrimp. Okay, so we're going to bring a skillet to medium-high heat, and we're going to cover the bottom of it with olive oil. You can use any type of oil, but we're going to use olive oil. So you just want to cover it so that our shrimp will have some oil to fry in. Now we're going to take 1 egg and we're going to whisk it in a bowl. And this is going to be basically like our glue to stick the breadcrumbs on so that our shrimp will stay nice and crispy. Now for the party, if you're having a lot of guests, you can use a lot more shrimp than we're using. But for the sake of time, we're going to be making 17 shrimp. So it's going to be like a little assembly line similar to our chicken parmesan that we did last week. So we're going to take our shrimp and just go ahead and plop them in here to coat them with the eggs. Now we bought frozen shrimp, so it saves a lot on money, and then we just thawed them. And these are already cooked, but so it'll take even shorter time, but you don't have to buy already cooked. So now we're just going to go ahead and take them and place them in the breadcrumbs and just mix them. And we're using Italian breadcrumbs. You can use a different type of breadcrumbs, but Miss June, she actually gave me this recipe and she told me to use Italian instead of regular, and it actually tasted much better, so I'm pretty glad that I decided to go ahead and listen to that. Again, it's pretty messy and our pan is getting a little hot, so we can go ahead and place some of our shrimp on there and they'll begin to sizzle once the plate or the pan gets even hotter. We can probably fit all of these shrimp during one round, but we will see. So, you gotta dig for them in there because I'm losing them. And you just want to make sure that you're really coating them with the breadcrumbs because you want them to be nice and crispy. And the eggs will make them stay. And you can move that. They're starting to sizzle. Okay. And we're just going to let those brown on either side, and then we'll go ahead and flip them. Okay, so in the meantime, while those are cooking up, we're going to go ahead and make cocktail sauce. So I'm going to first clean my hands before I do that. There's a lot of different types of ways to make cocktail sauce, but I'm going to show you the easiest, which is just horseradish and ketchup. One time my mom decided to make this like chili cocktail sauce. I don't know. It was pretty good, but I like regular better. And the more horseradish you add, the hotter it becomes. So, in just a small bowl, about, well, it could be about this size, like a really small bowl, we're just going to take ketchup and horseradish. So, and we're gonna actually fill the bowl almost about halfway, or maybe 3/4 with ketchup, depending on how many shrimp you have. So that's about good. So maybe about 3/4 to a cup of ketchup. And then we're gonna be using about a tablespoon of horseradish. And like I said, the more you use, the hotter it tastes. So we're just gonna pop that in there a little bit more maybe. And then we're just gonna mix it to create our cocktail sauce. And it's finished. And our shrimp smell like they're browning, so we're going to go ahead and check on those. If you have tongs, you can use your tongs to flip the shrimp. If you don't have tongs, then you can always use a fork. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and flip over our shrimp, and they're browning very nicely. Go ahead and grab the tails. Just flip them all over. And for a party, you don't even have to use fried shrimp. You could just use the already cooked and peeled shrimp and with cocktail sauce, but we like to, you know, mix it up a little bit, add a crunch. So this one's kind of hard. Just go ahead and give those a flip and let them finish off cooking. And while those are browning on the other side, hold on this one. While those are browning on the other side, we're going to go ahead and just get our plate all ready for them. We're just going to be using a small plate, and we're going to go ahead and put our cocktail sauce in the center. And then when those are ready, we're just going to go ahead and add them to the plate. So our shrimp are finished, so we're going to go ahead and turn off our oven, well, stove, and go ahead and plate them. And if you want to get the grease off, you can put them on a paper towel first, kind of like bacon. But we're going to be all greasy here. And just go ahead and put them on the plate. And we're just going to turn and put the plate around. And some of the shells, or the tails, fell off. But it is smart to leave those on so that the guests at the party can just go ahead and grab the tail to eat the shrimp instead of touching all over the shrimp. Okay, so now we have our shrimp and cocktail sauce already finished. And I'm going to go ahead and taste one. They're probably going to be pretty hot. This one is missing a shell. I'm going to grab a fork because they're pretty hot. And dip it in the cocktail sauce. Delicious. So we finished all of our party starters, and thank you again for watching. This is Cooking in College with Paige.